Are you going to be the one to say, you know what? I said my piece, nothing is changing, and I need to decide what I want to do in this friendship. I need to put myself forward because clearly this person is thinking about themselves and they're not thinking about me. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've posted. My name is Janelle. I'm a social worker and psychotherapist. And I'm actually starting a new series on this channel where I answer your questions. I answer commonly heard questions in therapy, and I also answer your questions that you want to ask a therapist. I posted on my community tab last week if this is something that you guys want for this channel, and you said yes. And some people submitted their question via email, so I'm going to leave my email in the description box below. You can ask any questions that you would want to ask a therapist, whether it's about relationships, family dynamics, job, money, you name it, you can definitely ask me. If you want to remain anonymous, you can definitely remain anonymous. Send in your questions via email and I will do my best to answer those questions. Okay? So the first question we have is from someone who wants to remain anonymous. And here we go. I'm 28 years old and I feel I give more to my friendships than I receive. We've been friends since we were teenagers and now things have changed. I'm always calling her and she doesn't call me unless she wants to go out or she wants a favor. When I want to hang out, she says that she's busy. But when I check her social media, she's out with other friends. I mentioned this to her before, but she said I'm being dramatic and it's in my head. Should I say something again? I feel like nothing is going to change. I don't know what to do. Okay, good question, Anonymous. So I guess my first point that I have down here is, what is it that you are gaining from this friendship? Because you mentioned that you're giving a lot more to your friend than you're receiving. You've known each other since you guys were teenagers. You call her, but she doesn't call you. So what are you gaining from this friendship? That's my question. Like, are you gaining? Like, do you feel heard? Do you feel seen? Do you feel valued? Like, why are you friends with this person? Why do you think you're holding on to this friendship so much? And I'm not saying you can't, but these are just questions that I want you to think about. So why do you think you're holding on to this friendship? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel valued in your friendship? And another point that I have is, you mentioned that you're always calling her and she only calls you if she wants something or if she wants to go out, whatever the case is. Have you ever kind of taken a step back and not called her to see if she checks in on you? Is that something that has ever happened? Does she ever check in on you, or does she just not call you unless she wants something from you? And you mentioned that, she said that you're being dramatic and it's all in your head. So I guess the first thing is, a real friend would not dismiss your concerns. A real friend wouldn't dismiss your feelings. And if you're going to your friend and saying, hey, this is what I've noticed and I'm a little concerned, or this is how I'm feeling, like, I think that a real friend would not be dismissive of what you have to say. They would actually listen to it. They would receive it without getting defensive and say, you know what? I didn't realize I was doing that. Or they would say, you know what? I didn't realize that was something that I was doing. Or, you know what? I get so caught up. I'm so sorry. They would apologize for making you feel that way. They would say, you know what? This is not something that I intended to do. I don't mean to hurt you. And they would want to change their ways because they value you and they value the friendship. There's just a few red flags, and you said that you don't think anything is going to change, so clearly you're feeling something within. And I always tell people we have to start to learn how to trust ourselves, how to trust our gut feeling, how to trust what is actually in front of us. And based off of what you said, it just seems like this person isn't a good friend to you. And you mentioned that you've been friends since you were teenagers. And I often hear this a lot. Oh, I've been friends with them for 20 years, or we've been friends since we were in kindergarten. And I always say to people, maybe you were friends at some point in your life, but as we get older, we tend to grow apart. You know, things in our lives change, we become different people. What I would say is that you've known her since you were a teenager, but it doesn't mean that you guys are actually friends at this stage in your life. And that's something that I want you to think about, because we hold on to friendships thinking, oh, what I've known this person for 30 years or 20 years or 17 years or 15 years. Just because you've known them for this long, what does that mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything. We want to start thinking about what we want for ourselves in our relationships with other people. Oftentimes we're waiting for this person to see us, we're waiting for this person to hear us, we're waiting for this person to value us. But you have to ask yourself, what am I gaining from this friendship? And do I still want to be friends with this person? Do you want to be friends with someone who only reaches out when it's convenient for them? We're always waiting for other people to decide how we are going to proceed, but you now have to take control and you have to decide how you want to proceed moving forward. Because I don't know if this person values your friendship, but if you feel like this friendship is worth saving, have another conversation. If that's what you want to do, have another conversation. But you have to be prepared that you may not receive the response that you hope to receive. So this person may respond the same way that they responded before. They may say, oh, you're being dramatic and it's in your head. So you have to decide, what are you going to do about this? Are you going to continue to wait for them to change? Or are you going to be the one to change? Are you going to be the one to say, you know what? I said my piece, nothing is changing, and I need to decide what I want to do in this friendship. I need to put myself forward because clearly this person is thinking about themselves and they're not thinking about me. And I'm not saying this person is a bad person, but all I'm saying is that sometimes our relationships serve a purpose and we are friends for a season and a reason. So maybe you guys were friends once upon a time ago, but now things have changed. You've changed, she's changed, and maybe what you need from the relationship has changed. Maybe this is how the friendship has been throughout the years of knowing her. But now that you're getting older, you realize that, you know what, I want a little bit more from my friendships. I want to be able to go deep with my friendships. I want to be able to talk on the phone more often. I want us to be able to hang out more often. Sometimes our needs change, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a needy person. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that they are who they are and they haven't changed alongside with you in that particular area. So I'm not saying she's a bad person, but she may not be able to give you what you're looking for in a friendship, and that's okay. So what I would suggest you do is mourn the loss of that friendship, or keep her in the background. You know, maybe you guys can still hang out once in a while. Maybe you guys can talk on the phone once in a while, but I definitely think you have to manage your expectations regarding your friendship and how you think things are going to progress moving forward. So manage your expectations, and don't put yourself in a position where you now start to hate her because she is not meeting you where you want her to be. It's okay. We are all allowed to feel how we feel, and sometimes we just have to distance ourselves, and that's all that's to it. If you guys want to send in your questions, please feel free to check the description box below. Send me an email with your questions, and I will continue to answer them on a weekly basis. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye for now.